Projects which showed no such results had their funding cut. No argument, no appeal. Research like that, which Avend had recently been conducting, specifically work based on premises other scientists had been laughing at, had an even harder time getting funding. Avend ran his hands through his big, unruly feather crest, rubbed his craggy face, and sighed at the thought of all the other research he had had to lend his name to, research in which he had no interest whatever, to finally get this one piece of investigation done. A 20-year career in high-energy astrophysics, a few awards, a lot of articles presented, a lot of publication in the usual journals, all bartered away like a string of cash for the sake of this one set of information that might make his reputation or break it. He reached out to the tank on his desk, pulled a couple of stray scribers off the projection platform, and stroked the tank into life, staring, as he had for hundreds of hours this year, at the vague, difficult image within it. Stars swarmed there, curving gracefully in the peculiar and beautiful double-coat hook shape of a barred spiral galaxy, the closest galaxy to the one that was home to the Shi'ar worlds. There were not as many stars visible in the image as were actually there, Avend knew. A lot of dark matter lay between the target and the viewpoint from which the image was taken, but the darkness itself was diagnostic, to Avend, of something going on that needed investigation. He watched the image closely, even though there was no point, like a father watching a sick child. One of his lab assistants wandered in, young Erden, with her big pale eyes and fair crest. She said, 15 minutes. Avend grunted an inarticulate reply. Erden looked at him, a little pityingly, and wandered out again. Avend looked at the barred spiral's image steadily, seeing for the moment something else entirely in his mind. The image of another galaxy, only a little more remote than this one, a matter of another 500,000 light-years or so, give or take 50,000, the third closest galaxy to the Shi'ar's own. Avend remembered the excitement that had broken out in the first great observatory where he had been working, 20 years ago, at the news that the heart of the Akhthon galaxy had gone spectacularly quasar. There had been little warning, some odd energy readings, a lot of gamma and X-ray emission for which there had been no obvious reason. Then, very early one morning, why is it always so obscenely early in the morning when these things happen? Avend thought. The news that the Akhthon core was abruptly emitting something like 50,000 times its normal output, right up and down the spectrum. By the time the core had collapsed, 6 years later, hundreds of papers had been written, some of them Avend's own. Many of them had set his career on its present course. Arguments over the cause of the core event were rife. Endless theories were postulated. Few of them would hold water. Other Shi'ar astronomers got bored with the subject and went on to trendier, sexier ones. But Avend persisted, looking at the slowly weakening quasar remnant, becoming increasingly sure that whatever he was looking at, it was not a true quasar. True, the output had been consistent with the quasars, but the speed and quality of the collapse was all wrong. Worse, stellar evolution in that galaxy had begun to behave very oddly. It was taken for granted that a quasar's wild output of energy would overbalance the energy economies of some of the stars nearest the galactic core, sending them very quickly into nova state. But so very many? Nearly half the stars in the Akhthon galaxy had flared, causing the destruction of their planets. Many had gone nova, destroying both their planets and themselves, leaving only rapidly cooling stellar cinders behind them, and nearly 20 had gone supernova, statistically a most unlikely response to the presence of a mere quasar. Avend had written some very annoyed papers on this subject. His enemies in the sciences had quickly responded that Avend was basing his conclusions on dubious mathematics, an accusation that had made him fume, and was attempting to rekindle a stagnant career by making sensational claims, which accusation made Avend laugh out loud, severely annoying those